Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, we are going to be going over my early top 10 player rankings for fantasy football in 2021. We're going to be going over running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends in this video that are all inside my top 10 players. There are no quarterbacks inside of there. Obviously, someone in your draft is likely going to draft a quarterback inside of the first round, but I am not aboard that train, so we will not be talking about a quarterback inside of this video. This is pretty much just like a nice round one mock draft in a 10-team league. I'll be making a couple of videos around this topic, probably top 10, top 25, top 50 to continue on the trend. There will be multiple videos about this throughout the offseason as my opinion changes. And real quick before we get into it, I'd like to give you guys a quick word from my friends, my sponsor over at Thrive Fantasy with a huge Super Bowl props. Thrive Fantasy offers the best player prop game in the DFS industry. When you use code Notorious at checkout in the promo code spot, when you sign up, you get double what you put in, up to $50. So if you put in $50, you get $100. You put in $25, you get $50. In this video, we're going to be talking about my favorite picks for the Super Bowl's $50 game. $10,000 to first place, $6,000 to second place. You can continue to read on there. Thrive Fantasy, you can use the link down below as well. My favorite picks for the Super Bowl right now is Travis Kelce over 7.5 receptions. You'll have to pick 10 out of these 20 to try to make sure that you hit all 10 so you can win that big prize. I also really like McCole Hardman over 33.5 receiving yards, as well as this one seems like a no-brainer. Harrison Butker over 7.5 points scored in the game on Super Bowl Sunday. Make sure you guys check it out, thrivefantasy.com. Code Notorious as the promo code, or link down below in the description. And we are back. If you guys do end up enjoying this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's get into it. Top 10 early player rankings. We begin at the 101 with Christian McCaffrey, running back of the Carolina Panthers. I believe in my first mock draft, I said Dalvin Cook would be the 101, and you can definitely go ahead and try to determine which one you like better. I wouldn't be surprised if someone told me Dalvin Cook was their 101, or if someone told me Christian McCaffrey was. To me, those are the two head honchos at the running back position, at least for the 2021 season as of right now. If you guys have someone different, let me know down below. Give me your guys' top 5 player rankings down below, and then we can compare them, obviously, and we can have a nice discussion in the comment section. I love talking to you guys in the comment section. Christian McCaffrey was running back 54 in PPR, running back 53.5 PPR in 2020, but when you talk about numbers of a guy, and his numbers are that low, why were they that low? Because he only played in 3 games. If he had played the whole season, probably would have been running back 1, maybe running back 2. The guy is a workhorse running back. In just 3 games, he had 59 rushes for 225 yards and 5 touchdowns. That's over a touchdown every single game in the rushing capacity, or in the rushing category. 17 receptions on 19 targets for 149 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown, 6 total touchdowns, so 2 a game. 30.1 PPR points per game, and 27.3 half PPR points per game, 90.4 PPR points total, and 81.9 half PPR points total in 2020. To me, it is without a doubt that Christian McCaffrey is the best player in fantasy football, the Swiss Army knife of fantasy football. This motherfucker is going to catch 7,000 receptions. He's going to rush for 7,000 yards. He's going to do everything you want, score 7 million touchdowns. This guy is simply amazing. Do not let his injury from last season make you stray away from Christian McCaffrey. I understand it. If the Carolina Panthers were any good, in my opinion, this guy would have been back like week 14, week 15. If they were on some type of playoff push, he would have played again. And to even further solidify my point, Mike Davis was a top 10 fantasy running back pretty much every single game, even top 5 in a lot of those games, without Christian McCaffrey, because this system is set up for an amazing rushing and receiving attack from the running back. It doesn't matter who the quarterback was. People were a little bit worried. Cam Newton's gone. How is he going to fare with Teddy Bridgewater? Now, in 2021, we're not entirely sure it's going to be Teddy Bridgewater under the helm. Now, he is under contract, so it's likely he does play at least a couple of games, but maybe the new quarterback plays. Will that be Deshaun Watson? If it's Deshaun Watson, Bridgewater's not going to play at all. But maybe it's Trey Lance. Maybe it's Justin Fields. Maybe it's Zach Wilson. Again, we don't really know right now in February. But with that said, I really do like Christian McCaffrey a lot. If we look at his past season totals, this guy is a fucking bona fide monster. And last year was his best year of all, at least if you're talking about on a points per game basis. 30.1 in PPR, 27.3 in half PPR the year prior, 29.4 in 2019. PPR points per game, 25.8. Half PPR points per game the year before, 24.1 and 20.8 half PPR points per game. And even in his rookie year, he was over 10, and he wasn't even the guy getting a majority of the carries in that offense. This guy is fucking amazing. The numbers tell you the tale. Go watch the tape. This guy is beautiful. Everyone knows it. Dude's jacked as fuck. He's going to go ahead and score 7 million fantasy points again. So obviously, again, like I said, there's going to be a narrative that Dalvin Cook's better than him, and I won't argue with you on that. But I really do feel like Christian McCaffrey is going to hop back in the saddle in 2021 and be amazing yet again for the Carolina Panthers. Next running back here, Dalvin Cook, kind of a no-brainer. Just talked about how those were the two best guys, so he comes in at number 2. Running back of the Minnesota Vikings, running back 2 in PPR, and running back 3 in half PPR formats in 2020. He played 14 games. He played 14 games as well in 2019. So the injury-riddled narrative is kind of still there, but if he's only going to miss 2, 3, 4 games, I mean, you're still going to be happy with him at the end of the day based upon the performance he is going to give you every single game. When this guy is in, he is going to carry your team single-handedly. Interesting to note, though, Dalvin Cook as the running back, too, had like 4 or 5 on average less points per game than Christian McCaffrey, which just proves how good Christian McCaffrey really is when healthy. 312 rushes for 1,500 yards from Mr. Dalvin Cook, 16 rushing touchdowns, 44 receptions on 54 targets for 361 receiving yards. While we're not necessarily drafting Dalvin Cook for his amazing receiving ability, it has shown off to be very talented, at least in my opinion, for the NFL level, and I really like it. I feel like we can estimate his receiving touchdown totals even going up in 2021 since he only scored 1 in 2020. 24.1 PPR points per game, 22.6 half PPR points per game, 337.8 total PPR points, and 315.8 total half PPR points. Dalvin Cook is amazing. That's why people draft Alexander Mattison, because the system is great. It's just like in Carolina. The system is set up for these running backs to succeed. So, Dalvin Cook should be a no-brainer inside the top 2 of 2021 fantasy football drafts. Again, these numbers show all 2 years in a row of this guy playing 14 games. And he's pretty much put up similar numbers, has just only gotten better as the years have gone on. So, again, as long as this guy plays like 14 games, you will love having picked him at the 102. At the 103, we have Alvin Kamara, running back of the New Orleans Saints. Now, today, Sean Payton came out. He was talking about famous Jameis the W-Eater Winston as potentially being the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints in 2021. I think if anyone still believes it's going to be Drew Brees, you're kind of smoking on that loud package, that good, because at this point, I just don't feel like Drew Brees is going to want to play in 2021. We saw how weird it was seeing so much Taysom Hill, seeing in the game that they need to win up against the Bucs. They don't trust Drew Brees to throw it deep down the field. They throw Jameson. He throws a tug, 1 pass for 50-something yards. It's amazing. Now, I'm not saying Jameis Winston is the second coming of fantasy football, Jesus Christ, or the NFL's like that. But what I'm saying is this guy is a talented quarterback, and I think Alvin Kamara will be fine in that type of system. Sure, you can run the numbers and say, oh, Jameis doesn't dump it off as much, this, that, and the other thing, but Jameis Winston has never had a player like Alvin Kamara by his side. Running back 1 in PPR, running back number 1 in half PPR. If you guys remember, he gave the Christmas miracle of scoring 7,000 touchdowns in that final game for everyone's championship. It was beautiful. Fuego. It boosted his point total up. But hey, you can't judge a guy when he scores 7,000 touchdowns in one game. Played in 15 games, only started 10. I'm not too sure how they measure that barometer because I think Alvin Kamara played in all 15 games, didn't just start 10. I don't know. Again, he was not very injury prone this season, didn't get injured really at all. So I'm not too sure where that number comes from. But again, this is from fantasydata.com if you guys want to check out any of these numbers. 187 rushing yards for 932 yards, 16 rushing touchdowns, 83 receptions on 107 targets for 750 757 receiving yards or 756 receiving yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. Now, when you're drafting Alvin Kamara, you're not drafting this guy to rush for 1,300 yards, even 1,000 yards. I don't think he's even gotten over 1,000 rushing yards in his NFL career. You're drafting him for an insane amount of combined yards due to a amazing productivity out of the receiving attack portion of his game. Obviously, when you're drafting a running back, you're looking for the rushing yards. But right now, where we are in fantasy football, where pretty much every single league is PPR or half PPR, the key to success is a running back that is going to catch passes. Key to the top 3 guys, they all fucking catch passes. Christian McCaffrey, the best pass-catching running back in the league. Maybe you say Kamara is. Dalvin Cook, number 2, has great hands. Number 3, Alvin Kamara, amazing in the receiving game. So again, you want to make sure you get these guys that are going to be catching passes. 5 receiving touchdowns, 25.2 PPR points, and 22.6 half PPR points per game for a grand total of 377.8 PPR points and 336.3 half PPR points. You guys are seeing these running backs go early in these mock drafts. For the last couple of years in your real fantasy draft, you are seeing it because the running back position is at a premium. It is very easy, not necessarily super easy, but if you're doing research, you're watching videos like mine, please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. You are going to build around a relationship with these wide receivers that are later in the draft. You're going to find guys that you really like that have the potential to hit. We're talking about guys like Justin Jefferson last season. We're talking about guys like Marvin Jones the season before that. There's always going to be guys later in the draft that you just drafted the wide receiver position. He's like your wide receiver 4, and magically he's the best fucking wide receiver in the NFL. It magically happens pretty much every single year. Whereas at the running backs, it is very, very hard to find one of these guys later in the draft unless an injury happens. So that's why it is so heavily loaded with running backs early, and why I advise to be drafting 2 running backs in the first 3 rounds. It's something I've been harping on for years, since 2019 when I started making videos. I talked about it last year. Going to talk about it this year as well. This is not to denounce the wide receiver position. The wide receivers are great. They're consistent. They're this, that, and everything, okay? But you have to understand that the running backs are going to go hard in the motherfucking paint early on in your draft. Looking at his numbers for the last 4 years he's been in the NFL, he's a fucking beast. Even with not Latavius Murray, even with Mark Ingram, Big Trust, being in that offense early on in his career, he has still stayed off of him and played well. Latavius Murray's back there. It's no worry. The guy is going to be a beast. Again, if you guys want to pause the video, read all these numbers, go right ahead. But Alvin Kamara is just great. There's no need to read 7,000 numbers to figure that out. You already know it. No need to harp on Alvin Kamara anymore. Next guy up here, we got Derrick Henry at the 104 out of the Tennessee Titans running back. Running back 3 in PPR, running back 2 in half PPR. Now, there's certainly that notion that Derrick Henry is a slow starter. To begin the season, this guy's not going to rip off 40 fantasy points. But in week 10, week 11, when it starts getting cold, this guy is a bona fide running back number 1 potentially on a weekly basis. He never really revs the engine up too hard early, but he continues to break these defenses down. Maybe it's the defenses are getting weaker as the season goes on. Derrick Henry gets fucking harder like he's on some Viagra. He played in 16 games in 2020 for 378 rushes for 2,000 yards. King Henry, rushing leader 2 years in a row. Guy's simply built different. He's going to rush for 7 zillion yards every single year. 17 rushing touchdowns. Sure, the guy has fucking butterfingers. 19 receptions on 31 targets for 114 receiving yards, 0 receiving tugs, 20.8 PPR points per game, 20.2 half PPR points per game. But again, when you have a running back who's going to rush for 1,800 yards, 2,000 rushing yards, it doesn't fucking matter if he even touches the ball once a game in the receiving part of the game. Do not worry about that. Don't let that get in your head. It got into a lot of people's heads in the 2019 season, mine included, and we were dead wrong. 2021 continue to ride the Derrick Henry choo-choo train. All aboard, choo-choo. 333.1 PPR points for Henry in 2020. 323.6 half PPR points for Henry in 2020. Again, don't buy into any type of narrative that he can't catch the ball, because frankly, who gives a flying fuck? Next guy here. Actually, real quick, we're going to look at some more numbers. I apologize. I forgot about my graphics that I was going to throw up onto the screen here. 2 years in a row of pure greatness. 1,500 yards last year. 2,000 yards this year. Simple. Don't overthink it. draft a running back that is going to get 1 million touches a game. At number 5, we have Big Dick Nicholas Chubb, running back of the Cleveland Browns. Now, Nick Chubb potentially took a dive last year in the receiving work. Well, not potentially, he did, because Kareem Hunt is there. But understand the Cleveland Browns are trying to run the rock down the throat of their opponents. They're not trying to make Baker cook up like a fucking chef and throw 6 million passes a game. That's not what they're trying to do. Kevin Stefanski wants this team to run, and run some fucking more. Do not underappreciate Nick Chubb. I understand he didn't finish as like the top 5 running back, but he only played in 12 games in 2020, finishing as running back 11 in PPR, running back number 9 in half PPR. Now, I know I'm going to see a lot of comments. Where's Saquon? Where's Ezekiel Elliott? Where's this? Where's that? Zeke, I'm not too sure about. He's not even in this video because I am faintly scared about what's going to happen in Dallas right now with not knowing what Dak's going to do. For Saquon, it's strictly coming off of an injury. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. Played in 12 games in 2020, 190 rushes for 1,067 rushing yards, 12 rushing touchdowns, 16 receptions on 18 targets. Sure, he's not going to get 1 million targets when Hunt is there, but there is obviously the opportunity that Kareem Hunt does end up getting hurt, knock on wood. We obviously hope that does not happen, but it is entirely possible, and that really opens up Nick Chubb's game even more. 17.3 PPR points per game and 16.6 half PPR points per game for 207.7 total PPR points and 199.7 half PPR points. Again, it's a no-brainer. The system is going to run heavily in Cleveland. They want to win these games. They got to run the ball. Nick Chubb, going to get a lot of touches. I like Nick Chubb again in 2021. Again, we can see here the receiving work going down. He had his lowest amount of targets in his NFL career. In 2018, only starting 9 games in his rookie campaign, he had 29 targets. Only had 18 this year. Had 49 the year after that in 2019 before Kareem Hunt was able to be reinstated and play, I believe, in week 9 or week 10. So the receiving numbers are going to go down, but I still very heavily trust in Nick Chubb in 2021, so I won't let anyone knock him because I think he's going to play great yet again in 2021. At number 6, we have Devonta Adams, wide receiver of the Cheeseheads, the Green Bay Packers. Now, last year, everyone was on Michael Thomas, and it seems like every single year, the guy you think is going to be the running back 1, the guy you think is going to be the wide receiver 1, the guy you think is going to be the tight end 1, except for, Travis Kelce every single year, but where everyone buys into the one player at that position, and they're just never fucking gonna be it again, Michael Thomas, wide receiver 1 2019, he's gonna be in 2020. It's a safe narrative. Wasn't that. Now, he could have been it, but he wasn't, because the guy was going loco, I believe. He just stopped playing. He was hurt. He was this, he was that. Devonta Adams was the guy I liked in 2019. He balled out, but he wasn't the number 1 guy because Michael Thomas played so good. 2020 comes around for the drafts. Not everyone's on Devonta Adams as the wide receiver 1. I wasn't either. I was on the Michael Thomas train. He played amazing. He's a safe pick. Wide receiver 1 in PPR, wide receiver 1 in half PPR. Played in just 14 games. Seems like he's going to miss a couple of games every year because he always somehow hurts his foot or something. But at the end of the day, he is a target machine with Aaron Rodgers as his quarterback. 115 receptions on 148 targets, 1,374 receiving yards, and 18 tugs this season. That is almost as many tugs as Robert Kraft gets on a weekly basis at a massage parlor. 25.6 PPR points per game for Adams and 21.5 half PPR points per game. Receivers are going to go, I would say, from the 4th probably to like the 6th spot is when you're going to see Adams come off the board. It is a running back heavy draft nowadays in the first 2 rounds. So, Devonta Adams being one of 2 receivers inside of my top 10 earns this spot easily. His talent has shown out for the last zillion years. It seems like. At least the last 3-4 years, Devonta Adams has been a undisputed god at the wide receiver position. So again, don't overthink it. He probably won't finish as the wide receiver 1 based upon the numbers, strictly because it seems like the wide receiver 1, quarterback 1, running back 1 never finish again back-to-back Michael Jordan 96-97 as the 1 guy. But unless something happens to this guy, unless he fucking breaks his foot in the shower slipping or something, he's going to be amazing week in and week out. Looking at his numbers again, the last couple of years, there really wasn't enough room, frankly, on the screen for his whole career, but the guy has been outstanding. 22 PPR points per game in 2018, 2019, slight decrease with 17.7, 25.6, the highest of his last 3 years in 2020. Even just taking an average of that, getting 21, something like that. Not some type of mathematician. Points per game, you're going to be very happy with Green Bay Packers wide receiver Devonta Adams. 15 games played 2018, 12 in 2019, 14 in 2020. Sure, he's bound to miss maybe a game or two, but at the end of the day, that should not make you fade away from a guy who is as talented on such a good Green Bay Packers offense, who will never draft another wide receiver to compete for the number 1 spot with Devonta Adams. At number 7, we have Saquon Barkley, running back of the New York Football Giants. He was a guy talked about to be the number 1 guy you draft with Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara and Ezekiel Elliott last season. This year, he falls back for me. Obviously, didn't finish high. He only played in 2 games, right? It says 22 games, which is just complete and utter ignorance from myself from the graphic standpoint, but I'll fix that real quick. So in his 2 games, he wasn't great. He played against Steelers in the first one, got hurt in the second one. 19 rushes for 34 yards, no rushing touchdowns, 6 receptions on 9 targets, nice. 460 receiving yards, very nice. My wife. 0 receiving touchdowns, 7.7 PPR points per game, 6.2 PPR points per game. Obviously nothing outstanding, but it's Saquon Barkley. The guy's a fucking freak. He's coming off of an ACL tear. But the guy, last year, this guy got hurt, and he was projected to miss, it was like 8 games or something. It was at least a month. Motherfucker came back in 3 weeks. He is built different. He's a fucking mutant, like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. He's going to be fine. But coming off the ACL tear always scares me. Now, maybe in a couple of months, in August, when everyone's drafting, when I've seen Saquon Barkley run, when I've seen this guy push a fucking truck up a hill, or whatever this guy does, then I'll be bought in again. He'll probably be a top 3 running back. But from right now, from a standpoint, we're in February. If you're drafting today, I'm frankly a little nervous on Saquon Barkley. It is what it is. But if the injury wasn't there, he's probably a top 2 guy easily. Next guy on the ballot, Travis Kelce, tight end at the 108 of the Kansas City Chiefs. The tight end position is so scarce, it's crazy. Every year, we're going to talk about these late round tight ends to draft. And a lot of the guys I talk about, they'll hit. But no one's going to hit like a fucking Mack truck like Travis Kelce. Tight end 1 in PPR, tight end 1 in half PPR, played in 15 games, 105 receptions, 145 targets. Most receivers would have a wet dream if they got as many targets as Travis Kelce gets on a game. 1,416 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns, 20.9 PPR points per game, 17.4 half PPR points per game. Going to the Super Bowl again. This team has no breaks. They pay Patrick Mahomes $7 million. Travis Kelce's going to be there for the next 7 million years. It does not matter. He's going to score 1 million touchdowns. He's going to get 1 million receptions every single game because he is the focal point of this offense. It runs through Travis Kelce. Tyreek Hill is the sexy name. This guy runs as fast as fucking Lightning McQueen. This guy is like Usain Bolt. This guy is this. This guy is that. But Travis Kelce is a zone breaker. When the defense runs zone, you are going to get bent over a table and skull fucked like your name was Monica Lewinsky and Travis Kelce is Bill Clinton. That's frankly what is going to happen, and there is going to be a stain on the dress of the defense when Travis Kelce is done with them. It is unreal how good Travis Kelce is. And while I am scared of drafting a tight end early because I think my running back will suck. That's just me. But when you have the cojones to do it, when you're going up there on draft day, if you draft Travis Kelce and he plays 13, 14, 15 games, you will be happy that you drafted him. So that's why he's at number 8, because of how consistent he is at such a scarce position in fantasy football. Last 3 years, he's gotten even better. He's gotten even better, which is crazy. 18.4 PPR points per game, 2018, 2019, 15.9, 2020, 20.9. Even 18.4 or 15.9 is amazing at the tight end position. So I'm just going to continue to bang the drums for Kelce. Barely misses games, 16, 16, 15 in the last 3 years. Don't overthink it. Again, I'm going to say don't overthink it a million times, so maybe I won't say it, but just understand that the tight end position is so scarce, and when you can get a guy that is such a beast at the position, you will be very, very happy with Travis Kelce in 2021. Final guy here. No, just kidding. I can't do math. Second and final guy. Again, if you guys have enjoyed, this is a bit of a longer video, but we're having a great time here today. We always do on my channel, so please make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you made it this far, leave a comment saying something about Phillip Rivers down below. Apparently, this is going to be a little off topic. Andrew Luck allegedly may be coming out of retirement. Allegedly, but that's because we're talking about the Colts. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but it doesn't seem to fucking matter. This team loves to run the rock gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream for Jonathan Taylor, running back of the Indianapolis Colts, running back number 6 in PPR, running back 6.5 PPR. After not even being the starting running back to go into the year, it's Marlon Mack, and you're like, fuck. You're like, fuck. You drafted him knowing this, but you're like, damn, Jonathan Taylor's a beast. They're giving it to Marlon Mack, who's all right. Marlon Mack gets hurt. You're like, thank the Lord for fantasy football purposes, right? You obviously don't hope Marlon Mack gets hurt, but for fantasy, it's great. Then you're waiting, and then Hines shows up, balls out. Taylor doesn't do much. But then, towards the end of the season, Jonathan Taylor is fucking in Mamba mentality or some shit, Kobe mode. Unreal down the stretch of the season and in the playoffs. 15 games, 13 started in 2020, 232 rushes for 1,169 yards, 11 rushing touchdowns, 36 receptions on 39 targets for 299 receiving yards, 1 receiving touchdown, 16.9 PPR points, and 15.7 half PPR points. Understand, he's never going to be a player that gets like 60 receiving receptions in a season. Not receptions, targets in a season, I should say. If Nyheim Hines is there, they're like a 1-2 punch. Jonathan Taylor is the fucking wrecking ball that Miley Cyrus rode in the Wrecking Ball music video. Nyheim Hines, little shifty scat back, gonna catch the ball. James White-esque, right? Doesn't matter, though. It doesn't fucking matter because Jonathan Taylor is so good. So good that I project a tremendous step up in 2021. I almost like him better than Nick Chubb. I almost do. Interesting to see who the quarterback will be, though. Again, not too sure. Not going to be Rivers. Obviously, he retired. Jacoby's out. Will it be Kirk Cousins? I don't know. Will it be Jimmy Garoppolo? Will it be Andrew Luck? Who knows? 25.2 or 252.8 PPR points, 234.8 half PPR points in 2020. Again, those numbers are low because he wasn't given the opportunity early, but when given the opportunity late in the season, he was good. So let's hope for a healthy 2020 season for Jonathan Taylor. Didn't show all of his stats because those are all of his stats because he was a rookie. In the last but not least, the 110. Final pick of the first round of 10-team leagues. Stephon Diggs, wide receiver of the Buffalo Bills. I doubted this guy. I really did. I did not see this coming at all. Just didn't. I thought that in a COVID offseason, we won't see Stephon Diggs make a tremendous leap. Play amazing. And I was fucking wrong. Man slapped me, front hand, backhand, just bitch slapped me. That's how good he was. Stephon Diggs, wide receiver 3 in PPR and in half PPR. Played 16 games, started 14 in 2020, 166 targets. This Bills offense was unreal. They're going to be unreal again. 127 receptions, 1,500 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns, 20.5 PPR points per game, 16.6 half PPR points. He'd be my best guess to be the wide receiver 1, based upon my theorem that the wide receiver 1 from last year typically doesn't finish as the wide receiver 1 in back-to-back seasons. I love Stephon Diggs. This Bills offense is amazing. Josh Allen has went leaps and bounds over most expectations. If you guys have been watching for a while, I love Josh Allen. And now you might be saying, Nick, you're a Dolphins fan. You got Dan Marino hanging in the background. What type of an asshole are you to love Josh Allen? I've bought into him since he was drafted into the NFL. Out of Wyoming, I've loved Josh Allen. Him looking better with all these weapons. Stephon Diggs is going to tear the league a new asshole yet again in 2021 as my final pick inside of the top 10. When looking at his stats, to me, it's crazy because he went from a Minnesota to Buffalo and played better in a COVID offseason. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. Again, looking super far back doesn't really help us because it's on a different team, but I did think it was interesting to look at the fact that he went from 17.8 in 2018 on Minnesota, 2019, 14.1 PPR points per game to 20.5 in 2020. So, I hope you guys did end up enjoying this video. I hope you guys do have a great day. Make sure you guys check out thrivefantasy.com as well as they got a nice app on your cellular device. Make sure that you guys check that out. I really appreciate it. Code Notorious. promo code, or you can just click the link down below. It's pretty simple. I love you all. Let's have a great Super Bowl Sunday. Let's win some cash. ThriveFantasy.com. If you don't want to check it out, go ahead. But there's also a free contest you can enter. Win a bunch of money on that. So make sure you guys check it out. I love you all. Genuinely, the season coming to a close is sad. We've got a while until football is back, but on my YouTube channel, it's like football never even left because I post so many videos. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Let's get it. 2021 Fantasy Football Top 10 coming up soon. Probably the top 20, top 25. Have a great rest of you guys' day. I love you all as always. Good boy.